Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation. This topic is really, this is an interesting topic. Usually we get this, it's how to deal with a jealous husband. Honestly, we usually get it the other way, how to handle a jealous wife. But this is important too. And it's less of an issue, but it's still a big issue when you're facing it. So how to deal with a jealous husband requires a lot of kind of backup knowledge so you can do a good job. And here's what we're going to do. And you know the Marriage Foundation is all about very different than what you normally see out there. So we tend to explain things more holistically and accurately. We don't get into labeling people, but we explain it differently. For instance, let's get right down to what jealousy is, okay? So you have an understanding of it so that you can deal with it without being pulverized by it. So it's an emotion, and emotions are sort of the second stage of primary reactions, and primary reactions are often instinctive, and instinct, are you following me here? I know it's a little long, but instincts come from the body. You see, we're souls, and we have a body, and we have a mind. We are not the body, you're not your body, and you're not your mind, and neither is your husband. You have a body, and you have a mind. And your body, being biological, comprised of trillions of cells, and we know this, it's a fact, that the number one attribute of a living thing is its drive to survive, its whole drive for self-preservation. Every single cell demonstrates this struggle that it has to exist. Every single one. When you put trillions together, it's an intelligent, it doesn't have a consciousness. Your body doesn't have a consciousness per se. You do, because you're a soul. But your body isn't a soul. It doesn't have a consciousness, but it has intelligence, so it knows to work together with the other cells, and it's constantly pinging the mind, using the mind as a servant to protect it. Not the individual cells, because when they get together, they form a community, and now they want to protect the body. A lot of it is automatic, but all of those automatic things are actually happening in your mind. And there are individuals, very, very few, who are able to control their heartbeat with their mind, control the flow of blood, control all sorts of things that we take for granted, right? The point is you have free will so you can control it. But when you don't learn how, or even that you need to control your mind, you become a victim of your mind, which is what most of us are. Because we're not taught this, and I'm not blaming anybody, but we're not taught this. We're not taught how to utilize our free will. And so our free will is a muscle that atrophies. And so we're not controlling our emotions, we are just driven by them. And so this emotion of jealousy begins in the body, you might say. The drive to survive is saying, oh my God, my relationship with my wife is threatened. And so I need to stand up and let her know that she can't do this, and I'm going to call her attention to it, and I'm going to check her phone, and I'm going to watch her like a hawk. And that's what your husband is doing, right? He's a victim of his mind. So what do you do about it? Do you see what I'm saying? It's not like he's consciously going, my wife is a whore. If I don't watch her, she's going to cheat on me. It's not like he's consciously doing that, but his mind is telling him that that could be the case because the mind is running amok, just like yours is. All of ours are, until we decide we're going to start controlling our mind. In your husband's case, because we're not exactly an enlightened group of people, your husband doesn't even know that. All he knows is that his marriage to you is threatened, and he's putting it on you, and he's not accepting you. He's not trusting you. What do you do? Well, I can tell you this right now. No matter what you say, he won't be assured. No matter what you do, he won't be assured. No matter how you behave, he won't be assured. Why? Because it's not about you. It's about his mind. So what do? Because with what I just said, it's like give up. But no, that is not the answer. You see, you married your soulmate, and you chose him subconsciously to live your married life on the plane of love. But when you start reacting to his reacting, you're sucked down into the mundane existence. It gets primal. You're fighting, you're arguing, you're losing trust. The love gets hidden. And that's not marriage. That's no fun. And marriage is supposed to be amazing. God gave us marriage because it's like the most incredible venue for ordinary people like us to experience ultimate joy, ultimate love. But when you're bickering, when you're suspicious, when you're defensive, when you are acting on this primal level, you can't feel it. You can't feel that love. And your husband is going, well, I would love you if I knew I could trust you. He's putting it on you. What you have to do is ignore all of that stuff. The jealousy that he's experiencing is a diseased emotion. It's not a normal emotion. It's not under his control because he doesn't know he's supposed to control it. And you can't tell him. That won't work. We all come across this in our own time, in our own way. But what you can do is you could dodge the bullets. You could ignore the insults. You could ignore the accusations. You could ignore him going through your phone. You could ignore all that stuff. And you focus on loving him with all your heart, mind, and soul. Because that's what you signed up to do anyway. So why change your wonderful behaviors and get down into the mud and fight with him? It's not doing you any good. And it's a big lesson for you. Because there's another side to this. There are things that you're doing, especially in the Western world, that makes him jealous. Perhaps you're dressing provocatively, because that's how everyone dresses, and we don't even think of it as provocative. But it is. You know, the morality in the Western world, and I'm not condemning the Western world, but we have lost sight of modesty. We've lost sight of, you know, I had children, many children, too many maybe, and I had daughters, a bunch of daughters. And one time, you know, one of my daughters was going through this phase where, you know, she was acting like what she saw on TV. And most of us learn how to be married on TV. Isn't that crazy? And I spoke to someone who I considered saintly, and I asked her, I said, what should I do? And she said, well, tell her that it isn't very ladylike. And I thought, wow, that's powerful. So most people in the West don't behave in a ladylike fashion. So the threat that your husband feels is overwhelming. I mean, women flaunt themselves in the West, and you know that that's true. I'm not condemning them. It's how society is. but it's a reality. Even those who consider themselves conservative, because conservative and otherwise is more of a standard set by society. You know, it used to be that women wore dresses when they went into the water in the ocean. And God forbid if they wore a dress that came above their knee, it was scandalous. So, you know, I can't comment on that, but I can say that your husband feels threatened because he's tied to that emotion. So what you can do is you could see it as a disease. And you know, let's use this as an illustration. Let's say your husband got in an accident and he hurt his arm really bad and it's in a sling and you wanted to move the couch. Would you ask him, honey, help me move the couch? No, you wouldn't, because he's got an arm in a sling, right? It's a diseased part of his body. So this is a diseased part of his mind. You don't condemn him, but you accommodate him. And that's what you do. And you try your best. You learn how to live your marriage on the highest plane of love and joy. And you do all those things to live there with your husband. And you avoid, to the best of your ability, these conflicts that come from this diseased emotion. I hope this helps you. You should subscribe to this channel if you like this perspective. Subscribe, because that's all I ever talk about is the joys of marriage, how much marriage is so amazing. And it is. So like the video. If you think it's a good one, leave a comment if you'd like. God bless you. And I hope you visit again. Again, I'm Paul Friedman, founder of the Marriage Foundation. God bless you and take care.